Hey guys, Thomas with the Harlan Project. Welcome back to the channel. I got another dump trailer video for you guys. This time I'm taking you for a ride along. So whether you're getting into the rental business or you just own a dump trailer, I'm gonna take you to the dump. That's right, through the scales and up the hill. And I got a bunch of tips and tricks that I think will help you make that process a whole lot smoother and maybe even avoid some costly mistakes that could impact your bottom line. Take a look at my wood panel here and how it's leaning towards me. Almost looks like it's ready to blow out. Now, I noticed this actually yesterday when I picked the trailer up, so I put the strap on it immediately. But you want to pay attention to this stuff because your load can shift, hitting the bumps, and you could get a blowout. And you know, this customer obviously filled this trailer and got his money out of it, you know, as they should. I would do the same. But when you're doing a hee-ho-hum to get some of these heavy items in here, sometimes they just fall where they fall, and that could be a lot of weight on this panel. So keeping stuff like this is really handy to make sure that your load goes down the road safe, because you have an obligation of the people behind you. And the last thing you really want is your customer climbing up in there, fumbling around in that falling, getting injured, right, for liability reasons. So I would actually rather it be like this. Use the strap and get on down the road. Now this can present a problem though when you go to dump it and all that weight behind it already leaning on that wood panel starts coming downhill. That's just part of this business. These are things that will happen over time. We all know the expression, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and from time to time you'll get lucky and find something you want to keep. Well, when I was putting this tarp on yesterday, I noticed these very large plates. Can you see those in there? And my gut reaction was to get nervous, because if that's steel, that's heavy. And if that's heavy, that's additional dump fees. Now, I like to weld, so if it's steel, I thought, well, maybe I will want to pull those out of here. But of course, as I sit here this morning, I think, I really want to go through that trouble. Well, I just got a simple magnet that we can check, and okay. It's some type of composite, which maybe still has a lot of value, but for me, doesn't. So I don't have to fool with this, and I'm thankful for that this morning. This will just go to the dump. You guys see some of these heavy items. Stuff like that doesn't go in gently. It gets tossed over the side, over the back. It rolls back, it hits your door, it hits your sidewalls, it creates dings and dents. Human nature, guys. You're renting this trailer out, it's not theirs. They're not gonna treat it like it's theirs. And this is gonna sound funny, but they treat it like a dumpster. And it is, but I don't treat it that way. Even when I'm putting stuff in there, I'm doing so, I won't say gently, but methodically to make sure I'm not going to damage my trailer. For example, I wouldn't just drop a 500-pound piece of concrete over that sidewall from 4 feet high. Do you think it happens? One really nice option that I don't have and I wish I did is a bar roller. It's kind of like a bimini top for a boat. And the way it works is it mounts on the side of the trailer, and when you swing it, it will actually lift that tarp high over the load and set it down on the back of the trailer. And that's a huge upgrade, because it will save you a lot of headache from getting in and out of the trailer and undoing all the many snags that are inside of there. It will also keep your tarp in good shape. Every time you pick up a new load, the weight is going to be different. So you should test your trailer brakes to make sure you have enough stopping power. Easiest way to do that, just get going about 15 miles an hour and squeeze your brake controller down here. And the trailer should bring you to a stop. And it's a little bit of the seat of the pants feel. If you have the trailer brakes too aggressive, you'll actually feel the truck lunging, almost wanting to fall over itself, like a ooh, ooh, ooh. If that happens, your trailer brakes are set too high. If your trailer brakes are too light, it will just take too long to slow down from 15 miles an hour. And I don't have a set distance that I can recommend to you. I'm sure there's somewhere on the old interweb that you could Google that. But again, it's kind of a seat of the pants feel. You want to make sure that your brakes in your vehicle are not working too hard. And you're not setting these just so that you can stop comfortably. You're setting this so that if somebody pulls out in front of you, you can stop fast. I will use a different range for all of my trailers, and a lot of that has to do with what is the dry weight, what is the curb weight of the trailer, empty. So my dump trailer is about 2,000 pounds heavier than my car hauler, so naturally it's going to start at a higher gain. And then from there, I will typically go up about 1 point. So if I start at a 5 for my dump trailer empty, depending on the weight of the load, I'll go to a 6 for a 1,000-pound load. I'll go to a 7 for a 2,000-pound load. Every trailer is going to be different, and it won't take long for you to realize where your truck and trailer, where they're most happy, depending on the weight of the load. As I'm towing this trailer, I'm being reminded of another annoyance with this rental business, which is that a lot of customers don't know how to load a trailer correctly. This is the trailer that has the concrete in the back on the wood post for the fencing, and there's a lot of weight on the rear end of this, so I'm getting a lot of trailer swing. So I'm stuck at 53 miles an hour where that's safe for me to tow on what would be a 65 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour road. Now I've had the opposite occur where there was so much tongue weight when I set the trailer on the back of the truck squatted all the way down to the bump stops, and you clearly can't go down the road that way. In fact, I've had it so bad I couldn't even get the trailer jack up. And some of you might be saying, well, that's because you need a heavy duty truck and you're using an F-150. Well, yeah, you're right, that's fair, but this is sort of a run what you brung kind of video. But in my experience, I'd argue even if you have a heavy duty truck, it's only a matter of time before you get a load that's so front loaded that your truck and trailer will be doing this in the center. You just don't want to go down the road like that. We could get into the weeds about pinion angles and everything else that's hard on your drivetrain. In those extreme cases, I've been lucky to have it here, and that's the magic button, which is that I can lift up the trailer. I could always dump it if I had to, but I've never had to do that. Instead, what I found works is I'll lift the trailer up, get the weight back over the rear axle. That will allow me to get the trailer jack up. Then, while it's angled, I'll just go backwards, hit the brakes, somewhat aggressively, and actually shift that load back. And at times I've had to do that 2 or 3 times. You don't want to go too crazy, because if you get that load too far back, there's no recovering from that, and you're going to be going down the road with a trailer sway. When you're renting your trailer, it's easy to ignore 2 really important things, and that's your time value. What's your opportunity cost? Could you be making more money doing something else? And 2, your expenses. And for this talk, specifically within your expenses, your fuel mileage. I have a transfer station within 5 minutes of my house that will take yard waste out of my dump trailer. They have a rule, and this is probably not everywhere, but it is at this place, where they won't accept demo materials out of a dump trailer. That's a bummer, because that 5-minute drive time for me basically means my time value and my fuel mileage become an irrelevant expense, because I can grab a sandwich for lunch and eat it on that 5-minute drive to the dump my yard waste, and be done. But now, like today, I actually have to go to a different dump that's about 20 minutes from my house. Sometimes I get lucky, and the place I'm renting to, they may live only within 5 minutes of that dump, so I'm already on that side of town. Yesterday's load, not as lucky. So you need to factor this in, because, well, right now I'm getting 13 miles to the gallon towing this trailer. They're heavy, and if you know anything about towing, it's not just the weight, it's wind. What kind of aerodynamics do you have? In a dump trailer with 2-foot tall sidewalls, it's a box. It's terrible on aerodynamics. Now, if you have a diesel, your fuel mileage may not vary as much. But for a gasser like mine, without that trailer, I'm getting 21 miles to the gallon. With that trailer, 13. So be mindful of how far you're driving. Knowing what times to come to the dump are so important, and if you can figure that out, you'll thank yourself 10 times over, because you can get caught in some long lines. Now, as we approach the scale, a lot of times you're going to have somebody on there, and if you want to get called out in a hurry, you'll drive too far and put your front tires on that scale while somebody's on there. And you may be laughing when I said that, but that's because that actually happens. So when you stop to get your weight, they want to know what you got in the trailer, and really it comes down to 2 primary categories: yard waste or demo materials. Depending on what dump you go to, they may have special areas that you'll put a mattress in, or put an appliance in, or hazardous materials like oils and gasoline, stuff like that. I don't want any of that in my trailer. I don't want tires in my trailer. I don't want a separate stop. So generally I'm in 2 categories: yard waste and demo. So my truck is telling me we've got about a 6% grade here on our local landfill. I like to be in 4 low going up the hill. It's a lot easier on the drivetrain, And if you got big vehicles like this where you have to come to a stop to let them pass, it's a lot easier to get that heavy load moving. That yard waste we dump, they grind it into mulch, and you can see they put it down as your base, and it's what gives you a fighting chance to avoid nails and debris in your tire because they'll sink into the mulch. But you can see it is a rough ride, and it would be easy to get stuck if you weren't in four-wheel drive. So the best way to prevent getting stuck is to already be in four-wheel drive. Yes, you literally drive on top of the trash up here on the hill, and if there was ever a reason to reconsider this business, it's this, because there's no way around it. With enough time, you are gonna pick up trash in your tires. Don't click off the video yet. You still got to get down the hill and through the scale. But before we do that, I just want to leave you with a word of encouragement. This comes from the good book, Colossians 3:17. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. That's right, guys. Whatever you do, that's even pulling a dump trailer through the landfill. Do it for his glory. Look way out there in the distance. That's the Daytona 500, the Speedway. So for those who are local, you'll know exactly where I'm at. If you really want to look like a rookie at the dump, when you get to the exit scale, then take your sweet time. Have your ticket and your money ready to go so that when you get on the scale, you jump out quickly, pay, get back in quickly, and drive off. Then put your money and your receipt away. Don't get in your car, put all your things back in your wallet, and then pull off. There are a lot of people who are lined up behind you who do this for their livelihood, and you won't make very many friends. In my service agreements, I include a 2-ton maximum, and that's so I can claw back on the customer if they put in a really heavy load and the dump fee gets real high. I will tell you that's easier said than done, but it's something I keep in there in case I get an honest customer who's willing to actually pay the additional fee. This load was 1.62 tons, so we're under the minimum, and he's off the hook. Now, we just dropped 3,200 pounds of weight. Don't forget to adjust your trailer brakes. That's where it's key to know what your baseline is. Well, another successful run. I like those, no issues. Got the dump trailer back home. It's plugged in and it's charging, so it'll be ready to go for the next rental. I hope this video provided value to you guys, and if it did, do me a favor and hit that like button and think about subscribing. I do a lot of cool videos with the dump trailer. We do a lot of DIY projects as well, and I'll put a link at the end of this video to another video, a gravel project, where I use the spreader function with the dump trailer. That was pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next one. God bless. Have a good night.